What's up, guys? Welcome back to today's episode of The Sports Sermon. We are brought to you by Scooch, the most functional phone case on the market. Check out ScoochCase.com to get yours today and use the code SPORTS18, sports with a Z, of course, to get a 10% discount on your order. Stay tuned till the end for a special Scooch giveaway as well. But now, today's episode.
And welcome inside the Sports Sermon. I am Dylan Staggy here today with Jason Gandhi. And today, as you can tell by the title, we have another fantasy football episode for you. Today we're going to be going over the defenses and kickers for this season. So we'll start off with a few questions and then get into a little bit of draft strategy and rankings toward the end. But let's get right into it. Jason, my first question for you. Khalil Mack and Aaron Donald are still holding out. Do you worry about them for their teams long term?
So I worry about Donald a little bit. Yesterday was the deadline that mattered most for Aaron Donald because he's a restricted free agent. But it's good news for the Rams because he clearly wants to play for them because he doesn't care about being restricted. He just wants to get paid, and I really don't blame him for that.
Yeah, I mean, I would worry about Donald a little. I think he could be a huge part for the Rams pass rush, as he has been for the past few seasons. One of the best players in the NFL, and I mean sacks are going to be a huge part for your fantasy teams, trying to create those turnovers and sacks for extra points. I'm not really touching the Raiders defense at all, Mac or not, so I'm not really worried about him for fantasy purposes. But Jason, what is the defense primed for a breakout season this year, though?
So I think it's the Tennessee Titans. They were tied for 5th in sacks, 4th in rush defense. Their front seven is really good, spearheaded by Jarrell Casey, and they only added to it by getting Rashaan Evans and Harold Landry in the draft. I absolutely love what they're doing in the front seven. The secondary was where the issues arose. They were 25th in pass defense and gave up the 8th most touchdowns. So they went out and signed Malcolm Butler. Now Malcolm Butler and Adoree Jackson together on the outside with Logan Ryan in the slot and then Kevin Byard and Jonathan Cyprien over the top as safeties is a really good secondary that I like to surprise some people, and is the reason the Titans are going to get back to the playoffs this year.
I think the Browns could be a deep sleeper this season. Definitely make a breakthrough, although it's a long shot for them to be fantasy relevant week to week. A healthy Myles Garrett could boost some sack numbers for this defense, and an improved secondary could bring more interceptions and more points for you in fantasy. And also, the quarterback situation on offense changed, which could be a huge difference for the defense. DeShone Kizer last season threw 22 interceptions and set up this defense in some really bad spots in terms of getting scored against them, which, again, is going to hurt you fantasy-wise. Now they have Tyrod Taylor starting at quarterback for now at least, and he just does not throw interceptions. He makes bad defenses look good instead of good defenses look bad.
Yeah, I guess me personally, I don't want to touch the Browns because I think they're going to be very good this year. And while they might be fun to watch, I don't want to risk it with a team like the Browns.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't draft them either, but I think that's a team that you should maybe keep an eye on the waiver wire to potentially play when you get a good matchup against a bad offense.
Yeah, there's definitely room for that.
All right, now let's move on to the disappointing side of things. What is a defense that you think is destined to disappoint, Jason?
So I think it's got to be the Seattle Seahawks. The 2013 championship team now only has 3 starters back, and one wants to be traded in Earl Thomas. Ken Norton Jr. comes over from Oakland to try and fix this defense. He was in Seattle during the Legion of Boom, but not as the defensive coordinator. He was not a very good defensive coordinator in Oakland, so now he has a second chance. You look at that front seven, Michael Bennett and Cliff Averill accounted for a third of the team's sacks the last 5 years. Now they're both gone. The secondary has gone from Richard Sherman, Cam Chancellor, Brandon Browner, Byron Maxwell, and Earl Thomas to Byron Maxwell, Justin Coleman, Shaquille Griffin, and Earl Thomas. This is not the same Seattle defense, so do not draft them like they are.
Yeah, I think definitely the Seahawks, but I think another team to look at is the Patriots. They lose Matt Patricia as their defensive coordinator. They are getting a lot older, too. I think the Patriots as a team could take a step back. They also lose Malcolm Butler at cornerback. So I think that there's a lot of things that could go into the Patriots taking a step back on the defensive side this season.
Yeah, do you think that it's a matter of Matt Patricia being gone or Malcolm Butler being gone?
I think definitely both. I would say Patricia more, though, because he's just been so consistent over the past few years and was really somebody that Bill Belichick could count on. Now he has to bring in somebody new, and the Patriots usually replace players a lot better than they do coordinators.
That's true. I don't know. I guess I like Malcolm Butler a lot, and I think that's part of the reason I picked the Titans as my breakout team is because I think Malcolm Butler's still a top level cornerback in this league. So I think that's going to be a bigger loss than people want to give credit for, especially Bill Belichick. He'll never admit it.
All right, let's get into draft strategy a little bit. I think we both agree that usually it's the best idea to draft both defenses and kickers very late in the draft.
Unless you live in Indiana where Adam Vinatieri goes in like the first 10 rounds.
All right, but would you ever draft a defense before the last 2 rounds, Jason?
I would not do a defense. I would not do a kicker because I hate kickers and they're not that relevant. And I honestly could not care less. I respect their job. I do not respect them in fantasy. Whoever I can find, I'll go with. I just look for a breakout offense I could see this year. So for this year, I'm looking at guys like the Titans, the Texans, the Jags. All 3 of them could be very successful, whether it's Josh Lambo, Ryan Suckup, or whoever the Texans kicker is. Oh, Kaimi Fairburn, I think, something like that. Either way, those are the type of teams I look at for kickers, so I just wait to the last round. I don't really care about making sure I get Justin Tucker or Steven Gostkowski or whatever. Like that doesn't really worry. That doesn't make too much of a big deal for me. Defenses, though, I haven't in the past, but I think this year I will. I think defenses are a lot more valuable this year than they have been in the past because this league is so deep. You look at guys like Doug Martin or maybe Corey Coleman now, and those type guys that might not get touched no matter what. I don't want to get them in the 13th round. I can wait till the 15th round. I'm going to go get like a Jags defense or a Rams defense or a Vikings defense where I think they're going to be one of the best at their position and then still get my guys, whether it's the 14th or 15th round, because fantasy is all about value, trying to get more value from where you drafted them at, and that's what I'm trying to do by getting a defense. I think this will be the first year I go ahead and go get one.
Yeah, I think those teams might not even be available right now. On ESPN at least, the Jags, Rams, and Eagles defenses are all being taken before the 100th spot in the draft. That is absolutely insane. But if you do have a deep sleeper that you really like in your draft, like Jason likes those guys like Doug Martin or Corey Coleman, and you're sure that those guys won't be picked, it's definitely worth a look at the defense category. Again, if you have one that you really like and you think your guy's not going to get picked by your next pick, it's definitely worth a look to see if you can secure one of the top teams. My only thing, though, about that is that the defense is the easiest position in fantasy to stream. You can just go on the waiver wire.
Kickers. I stream kickers all the time.
Yeah, but
Kickers do not mean anything.
Well, yeah, they don't mean anything, but it's easy to pick a defense with a lot of upside. With kickers, you have no idea what you're getting.
I mean, they're all going to kick. I don't know. That's why for me, I think the easy position to stream is kickers because they don't matter. Like you're going to get 6 points no matter who you get. For me, defenses are also easy. I didn't mean to stop you on your point, but yeah, you can keep going.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's a lot easier to find a defense with a lot of upside and a good matchup any given week. So I definitely would not be drafting a defense very early ever. And then for the kicker position, we'd both agree that never before the last 2 rounds or even the last round.
I don't give him for the last round.
All right, now I want to hear your rankings, Jason, for the top 5 defenses and your top 5 kickers. We'll start with defense.
Start with defense, okay. My 5 will be Denver Broncos. I think they're a team that kind of is easy to overlook, and I absolutely like them this year on defense. Von Miller and Bradley Chubb are going to be monsters, and then Chris Harris and Bradley Roby in the backfield are in the secondary. I like both of those a lot, and I really like the Broncos defense.
I like the Ravens as my number 5 team. They're incredibly consistent, and they don't really lose much on the defensive side this year. I think they're a solid pick in fantasy again this year.
Yeah. My number 4 is the Philadelphia Eagles. Super Bowl champions, only got better by adding Michael Bennett. And honestly, they could be my number one defense very easily. These next 4 teams are all super strong.
Yeah, I also have the Eagles at number 4, very deep all around. My only thing with the Eagles is that their offense could be very good this season, so that might lead to some more shootouts than a team like the Ravens that I said number 5.
Yeah. For me, I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Rams. They have so much talent, and they're just going to have a heck of a year, at least for us, entertainment. I think they'll be good for fantasy, too.
I have the Minnesota Vikings at number 3. A year ago, they stayed insanely healthy, so I think this year, if they don't stay as healthy as they were last year, they could take a small step back. And again, the same concern I had with the Eagles. Their offense is very good, so they could get into a little bit more of a shootout, have the other team having more opportunities to score the ball against them. But if their starting lineup stays healthy, they're just one fantastic defense.
Yeah, my number 2 is the Vikings. I love the Vikings. I think they're deeper than Dylan gives them credit for. We talked about that on the Vikings episode. I think they will be the best defense in the NFC. And my number 2 and my number 1 defense is actually my Super Bowl prediction.
All right, I have the Rams at number 2. Not necessarily, I don't think they'll be a top 2 defense in the league, but this is a team that could create a lot of sacks, interceptions, turnovers, touchdowns, everything that's good for fantasy. So I love the Rams.
Yeah, my number 1 is the Jacksonville Jaguars. They are so freaking good. I cannot emphasize how good the Jags defense is. So deep at so many levels. I will try to get them if I can at any cost.
All right. I have the Jags at number 1 also. Again, they should be very solid. They did it last year. So, again, they create a lot of turnovers, interceptions, sacks, too, and their offense loves to run the ball, so that should keep the points down on the other side, just wasting more time of possession, not allowing the other team to be on the field.
Definitely, yeah.
And now I want to hear your top 5 kickers, Jason.
So my number 5 is Matt Bryant. Like I said, with these guys, I always look for who's going to be really good offense, with one exception, who's my number 3 kicker. Everyone else is just going to be where I think is going to have crazy good offenses this year. And Matt Bryant of the Atlanta Falcons at number 5.
I have Jake Elliott at number 5, again, for the same reason, because the Eagles' offense should be very good this year. Jake Elliott had a solid season a year ago, finishing at 12. I think he'll improve even more this year.
My number 4 is Will Lutz. Same reason. I'm not really going to try to explain the same thing. They have good offenses. I think they're going to score a lot. Will Lutz on the Saints.
All right. I have Matt Bryant at number 4. Again, he's incredibly consistent, like Jason mentioned, at number 5 year in and year out.
Yeah. 3, this is the one exception I'll make. This is Justin Tucker, just because I love him, and he has such a strong leg. Justin Tucker's just one of those great guys in the NFL. I have him at number 3.
I also have him at number 3. The Ravens love to kick field goals, and Justin Tucker's the best at it. So,
and I'm assuming, maybe I'm wrong, that 2 and 1 are Gostkowski and Zerline.
Which order do you have them in?
Gostkowski 2, Zerline 1.
I have that flipped.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I mean, both guys just have crazy strong legs, and both teams are going to be scoring a lot, the Patriots and the Rams. Kind of a boring episode because it's defenses and kickers, so we apologize for that, but we've got now every single position covered in fantasy, so make sure you guys go check those out in our playlist. We also have playlists for all 32 NFL teams, all 30 NBA teams, and every Power 5 conference in college football.
Yeah, but that's all we've got for today. And you might have heard in the intro, Jason mentioned Scooch. First, the promo code sports18 on scoochcase.com for 10%. We're actually going to up that to 15% for any order on scoochcase.com. You can get your wingman case, wing mount for your car, wing back. It's like a pop socket, but better. All those things.
So much better.
All those things on scoochcase.com. Go ahead and check that out. Also, if you comment on this video and then go ahead and subscribe to our channel on YouTube, iTunes, or Spotify, you will be entered into a contest to win a free Scooch Wingman case.
Get your Scooch.
But that's all we've got for today. We will see you soon with some more NFL team previews if you guys want to go ahead and check those out too. But this is all we've got for fantasy, and we will see you very soon with some more episodes on the Sports Room.